Hey everyone, Foss here. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee with only Articuno was a fun but easy one. So let's get back into a challenge that I can take on live for all to see. Let's see if I can beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon HeartGold with only gift Pokemon. I've seen other YouTubers, such as Flygon HG and Keegan J, complete this challenge before, but I wanted to see if I had what it takes to complete this challenge using a different team. This challenge was streamed live over on my Twitch channel, so make sure to drop a follow to be part of this action live as it happens. Link in the description below. But what exactly is this challenge? To better explain that, let's take a look at the rules. I can't catch any Pokemon in this run, I can only use Pokemon that are gifted to me, including for HM purposes. If you want to know all the gift Pokemon options in this game, there's a full list over on Bulbapedia that you can check out. If a Pokemon dies, it will be released from the party never to be used again. There are no items in battle except for held items, and I must stay under the level cap, which is the level of the next gym leader's ace. Oh, and I'm also not just going to beat Lance at the Elite Four here, I'll also have to beat Red at Mount Silver to actually consider this run complete. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments below. Also consider leaving a thumbs up and subscribing for more videos like this in the near future. Only about 5% of those who have watched my last video were actually subscribed. So if only 10% of those who watch this video subscribe, it would help out the channel tremendously. With all that out of the way, let's get into the actual video. Like all my recent Nuzlocke videos, this one begins with my character getting assaulted immediately upon stepping foot into the real world. Once the Rabid Marill is finally settled, I head next door to meet up with Professor Elm, who gives me with the first Pokemon of the challenge. If you've spent any time at all watching me stream these challenges live, then you're probably aware that Typhlosion is my favorite Pokemon. So if it's available to me, I'm obviously going to choose it as my starter. Speaking of Typhlosion, does anybody else think that Legends Arceus did my guy dirty? Did they really have to make this guy look like a stoner? Okay, I digress. But my chat chose the name Cinder for our new friend here, and with that, it's time to begin our journey. As I make my way to Mr. Pokemon's house, let me remind you that I'm going to attempt this with a different team that I have not yet seen before. Since Flygon had chosen Totodile as their starter, our journey has already diverged from their path, but Keegan J had chosen Cyndaquil as well. Don't worry though, because our stories will not overlap that much longer. By the way, I'm also going to link both of those videos mentioned here in the description below. Go check those ones out if you haven't already, and let them know that I sent you as well. As we arrive at Mr. Pokemon's house, we're gifted with this mystery egg and are sent back to New Barktown to show this discovery to Professor Elm. On the way back, we're ambushed by this red-headed fellow and his Totodile. I nearly lose this battle, which would have been quite the way to start a Nuzlocke, but Cinder is eventually able to take it out. As the stranger flees, he conveniently drops his ID where I see the name of my biggest and most fearsome rival, Chat. After ratting Chat out to the police, I continue on down the path to take on my first real Pokemon battle against the fearful youngster Joey. During my randomizer Nuzlocke of this game, this guy was a member of the Elite Four, he had an Azelf and even a Dialga at one point, and he was not messing around whatsoever. This time was a little bit different this time around as he sends out his usual level 4 Rattata, which is able to deal some decent damage with a quick attack before going down to a couple tackles. After stealing the lunch money of yet another youngster on Route 30, I eventually make my way to Violet City. This city is the location of not just one, but two of our next gift Pokemon. One of these is not available until after I defeat Falkner, but if you head into this Pokemon Center here to speak to this gentleman, he will gift you with a specific egg if you give him the correct code. You have the choice here between Mareep, Wooper, and Slugma, depending on the code that you give him. These codes are unique to your specific trainer ID, so after plugging them into an online calculator, I figured out that I could tell this guy the obvious phrases of Camera Danger and Iron Fist Skill Link. Who would have guessed? Giving him this combination of phrases earns me the Mareep egg, and this is where my path finally diverges from that of Keegan J, who chose Wooper in this situation. And that means I have a team unique to me prior to taking on the first gym. Well, I will have a unique team to me once I actually hatch this egg, and there's only one way to do that, so you know what that means. Okay, with all that out of the way, I figured I could let Chad take the reins in naming this one yet again, but I'm starting to regret that decision already. From there, I make my way into the Bellsprout Tower to start training up. After switch training through the majority of the battles here, I was able to get Mareep to level 8, but Cinder had also reached the level cap of 13. I didn't want to risk taking on the next gym with only Cinder, so I head to Route 32 to train up Mareep a little bit more. I chose this route because it's home to even more Mareep, which upon defeat will give Pokemon that were used in battle special attack EVs, which will be a vital stat for Mareep's largely special moveset. After reaching level 13, it was time to take on Falkner. Now that Mareep knows Thunder Shock, it should make this gym quite a bit easier. Pidgey goes down to a single shot, bringing out Pidgeotto. It strikes first with Tackle, but Mareep has the Static ability, which has a 30% chance of paralyzing the opponent after any physical attack. So unluckily for Pidgeotto, it is paralyzed after the very first hit. Bob follows that up with a couple Thunder Shocks to take out the last of Falkner's birds to earn us the Zephyr badge. Following this battle, I head next door to the Pokemart to receive the next Pokemon for our team. Professor Elm's assistant hands over that mysterious egg from earlier, and I really wonder what it could be. Well, there's only one way to actually find out. Oh boy, let's see what it is this time. It's the Twitter bird? Huh. That's weird. But I guess this is a good time to let you know that I've actually made a new Twitter account, and the link to that can be found in the description below. We then give our little bird friend here a makeover to make it look a little bit more like Togepi, and then we name it Kirby before moving on. Time to grind up some levels yet again. So I head back into the grass on Route 32 to fight more Mareep, this time switching between Togepi, Mareep, and Cyndaquil, so that they all get that boost in the special attack EVs. After reaching level 14, Cinder evolves into Quilava. Let's take a quick look at Kirby here. This moveset consists of Metronome, Charm, Extrasensory, and Rock Smash. Its attack and speed are horrendous, so it won't be able to fend for itself for some time. In addition to that, Metronome has the option to use Self-Destruct, and I would rather not risk that with a Nuzlocke. So that move is going to be off the table. I'll just have to keep switch training for now. But after a while, I finally make it to Azalea Town where I meet up with Kurt before following him down into the Slowpoke well. It is here that Ba evolves into Flaffy before we head into battle against the first members of the Elite Four. I don't think I've ever struggled with these battles in the past, and it definitely won't start now. Rocket Executive Proton's team of Zubat and Koffing go down easily. Following this battle, we somehow learn how to talk to Slowpoke before being teleported out of the darkness by this old man. Somehow his broken back that he'd been complaining about before was magically fixed once Team Rocket was gone. How convenient. But now it's time to take on Bugsy's gym. I'm not gonna lie, I hate this gym. Bugsy's Scyther is an absolute menace to deal with when you have a level cap. It outspeeds most Pokemon, and his high attack stat means it's also packing quite a punch. But let's see how this goes. I send out Baha to take it on first, hoping for paralysis from either Thundershock or Baha's static ability. Scyther goes for Focus Energy on turn 1 as I hit with Thundershock for about a third of its health. It hits with Quick Attack on the next turn and manages to avoid the paralysis chance from static in the process. But a high roll from Thundershock triggers a Citrus Berry, which also paralyzes it in the process. One more Thundershock brings it down to red health, but Bugsy uses a Super Potion on the next turn to restore it back to full health. A crit hit on the next turn brings it back to low health, and thanks to paralysis, we are able to outspeed it and take it out on the next turn. Metapod and Kakuna are out next, and since Ba doesn't have any solid moves against them, I switch into Cinder to finish off the job. After a couple of embers, we trade Bugsy a pile of Pokemon Ashes for the second badge of our journey, the Hive Badge. Up next is another battle that had frustrated me as a child. Our rival's Croconaw hits so hard at this point, and not only that, but the level cap for Whitney is just 2 levels more than that of Bugsy here, so I don't have the option to train up. He leads with Ghastly, who paralyzes Ba on the first turn with Lick. What a good start. A Thundershock brings it down to low health, but it then takes itself out by placing a curse on our little sheep friend here. Up next is Croconaw, and I was worried about paralysis, so I switch into Cinder to hopefully lower his accuracy through the use of Smokescreen. After getting a couple off, I switch back into Ba to hopefully finish off the job. Croconaw proceeds to miss the next 4 attacks before Ba is finally able to hit it with the Thundershock to bring it down to yellow health. It then chooses to use Scary Face instead of any damaging moves, so we're able to take it out on the next turn with yet another Thundershock. Zubat is out last, and we proceed to have some of the worst confusion luck that I've ever seen. Cinder eventually comes out to finish off the job. So with that, we are moving on with no losses to the team at this point. I then make my way through Ilex Forest, rescuing these brilliantly named Farfetch'd along the way, and eventually arrive in Goldenrod City. It is north of the city that we're able to add yet another Pokemon to our team. If you talk to the security guard here, he will gift you a Spearow named Kenya, with a letter that he expects you to deliver a friend along the way. Sorry dude, but I'm not really allowed to catch any Pokemon here, so thank you for your donation. Sadly, the Spearow is level 20, so we will not be able to use it for the next gym. So after adding it to the PC, I head into the gym to take on the crybaby herself. I mean Whitney. Whitney's Miltank is notorious for being Nuzlocke run ender, but I'm determined not to let that happen this time. She leads with Clefairy though, which doesn't exactly pose a huge threat, but with its high defense, it takes some time to finally take it out. Then out comes Miltank. Somehow this chubby cow can outspeed our fiery rodent, so it gets off his stomp for huge damage before we're able to actually hit it with Smokescreen. Not wanting to risk losing Cinder here, I switch to Ba to hopefully paralyze the pink cow. After another stomp from Miltank, we get just that, but it's holding a Lumberry, which immediately cures the paralysis, and that's not good. I go for the for sure paralysis by using Thunder Wave, but another stomp from Miltank brings Ba down to only 19 health, and I figured now is the time to actually switch out. Out comes Kirby, who luckily has high defense, so Stomp doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I decide to lower its attack through the use of Charm, but Miltank uses Attract on the next turn, which means we only have a 50-50 chance of a successful attack on each turn now. I'm eventually able to get off 3 Charms, which means that Miltank's attack has been lowered as far as it will go. Knowing the Rock Smash is super effective, I figure why not give this a try. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch out now. I'll bring Cinder back out and get a clean switch thanks to Paralysis. After realizing that Ember won't be really doing much damage, and that Miltank also has Milk Drink, I figured I would have to drop his accuracy a bit just to be safe. Thankfully, Cinder's also holding a Shell Bell, which restores some HP with each successful hit. So each time Miltank heals up, it gives Cinder the opportunity to heal up as well. With Miltank's harshly lowered accuracy and attack, this battle was now just a painfully slow grind to the finish. If you have a history of seizures, you might want to skip this part. I'm going to play this at 10 times speed, just so you can see the entire battle. It took me over 5 minutes real time to actually finish this one, but we were finally able to take out the annoying Cal through the use of Kirby's Rock Smash to earn us the Plane Badge. Miltank almost struck again, but with my team of bruised and battered Pokemon, we're moving on. I head immediately to the Pokemon Center to add Kenya back to the team before continuing on to the mysterious tree blocking our path. After realizing that there was a high chance I could lose a Pokemon in this battle, I decided I would take the easy way out by just fleeing from battle, which apparently is exactly what this guy here wanted to see. Who would have guessed? I continue on until I reach Yucatec City. It is here that I run into Bill, who tells me to meet him back at his home in Goldenrod City to receive a little gift. So I head back south, evolving Kenya along the way, until I arrive back at Goldenrod City. It is here that Bill gives me yet another member to the team, an Eevee named Nimmons. I'm sure you are all well aware, but Eevee has numerous methods of evolution, but I'm primarily focused on getting myself a Vaporeon, since I have no other water Pokemon available to me at this point. To do so, I must find myself a Water Stone, and there's 3 ways to get this. Either through a chance Pokegear phone call, coming in first in the bug catching contest, or winning enough points in the Pokeathlon to purchase one outright. Well, being that the bug catching contest is a tough one to win, and the Pokegear call is just purely chance, I guess it's time to take on the Pokeathlon. This contest matches your team of 3 Pokemon against others in a test of speed, power, skill, stamina, or jump, each with its own set of challenges. I choose the skill, of course, because obviously I have nothing but skill. How else would you explain how I got this far in the challenge? After 10 minutes of challenges, let's see how we did. Dead last. Who would have guessed? Well, at least I got 229 points here. So let's see how far off I am from actually getting that water. Wait, where is it? Well, according to Cerebi, the Water Stone was only available on Wednesdays. Not only is it Tuesday at this point, we were also well short of that 2,500 points needed to actually purchase the stone in the first place. Knowing that I have to come back to this at a later time, I head back to Yucatec City to take on Chat in the Burn Tower. His team goes down rather easily before I make my way into the next gym to take on the Ghost Leader Morty. It's in this gym that Kirby evolves into Togetic before we get to take him on. He leads with Ghastly, who goes down instantly thanks to a pursuit from Kenya. Haunter's out next, and after putting Kenya to sleep and dealing some decent damage through the use of Dream Eater and Nightmare, I choose to send out Cinder instead. It's eventually able to power through the sleep to take out the ghost and bring out Gengar. Cinder is at dangerously low health at this point, so I send out Kirby instead. Luckily, Kirby is a normal type, so Shadow Ball does not affect it at all. The only other moves that Gengar has are Sucker Punch, Hypnosis, and Mean Look. So the only damaging move is Sucker Punch, which is useless if Kirby is asleep. The remainder of this battle reminds me of a day in the life of Foss. You see, I have narcolepsy, which means I'm extremely tired throughout the day despite getting plenty of sleep and can fall asleep basically anywhere at any time. With these two falling asleep every 2 turns, I can definitely relate. Eventually, Kirby is able to stay awake long enough to actually take out the Gengar and the Haunter that was out next through the use of Extra Sensory, and doing so earns us the 4th badge of our journey. It's time to work on getting Vaporeon yet again, so I'll make my way back to the National Park to take on the bug catching contest. After spending 15 minutes catching the best Pokemon I could possibly find in the form of a level 13 Pinsir, I felt confident that I had this contest in the bag. Coming in 3rd place was Cindy with her Metapod. A freaking Metapod? What an amateur. And 2nd was Ed with his Scyther, and of course in 1st place was Ace Trainer Abby, who caught a Venonat? Are you kidding me? I didn't even place! I hate this game. So as the day flipped over into Wednesday, I make my way back to the Pokeathlon to earn those 2,500 points needed for the Water Stone. These challenges got much easier as time went on, and I was eventually able to win the contest consistently. So after 5 more attempts, I finally had enough points to buy myself the Water Stone and transform Nimmons into that Blue Mermaid. After teaching Nimmons how to surf, I head out into the open waters to put on a few more levels before finally arriving in Cianwood City. This is also the location of the next member of our team in the form of a Shuckle named Shucky. Looking at stats, this is obviously a defensive tank, and I'm not sure how often I'm actually going to be using this bug rock thing, but with the addition, we finally have a full team of 6 Pokemon. We then do a bit more grinding to evolve Flaffy into Ampharos, before heading into the Cinewood City Gym to take on Chuck and his team of fighting Pokemon. His team of 2 Pokemon is led by Primeape, and I send out Kenya. A Hyper Potion was not enough to save Primeape, as a few aerial aces from Kenya was able to take it out. So out comes Poliwrath. Chuck then spends the next 3 turns making the bold call of attempting to use Focus Punch. So after watching this fail turn after turn, Kenya eventually takes it out without taking even a single point of damage along the way. With that, we have 5 badges under our belt and all 6 Pokemon remaining on the team. On the north end of this island, we find the mysterious Pokemon Suicune hanging out before it finally runs off. Yucien steps in to show us that he's the only person that has what it takes to actually capture this legendary Pokemon. He leads off with Drowsy, who is able to stall Kenya through the use of sleep, but eventually goes down to the power of pursuit. Electrode was next, and this battle actually had me worried. Of course, Kenya is weak to electric, so I switched into Baha instead, who takes some decent damage but was able to paralyze Electrode in the process. Worried about the chance of the fake Pokeball exploding, I switch into Shucky just to see what happens. Shucky immediately locks into using Thunder before proceeding to lower his accuracy through the use of Flash. I then get a clean switch into Cinder, who's able to deal some solid damage to the Flame Wheel. But Thunder lands on the next turn despite the lowered accuracy for some huge damage in addition to some paralysis. Afraid that I would be outsped, I switch into Baha expecting another Thunder and hoping that I would be able to withstand it. And it does. So Headbutt on the next turn finally takes it out. Haunter is all that remains, so I switch into Togetic, who is able to take it out with a single shot from Extra Sensory. That was surprisingly more difficult than I thought it was going to be. But can you imagine how cool it would be to actually get Suicune this early in the game? Suicune is one of my favorite legendaries in all of Pokemon. But honestly, I would sell for any of the roaming dogs at this point if this wasn't a gift Pokemon only Oh. Huh. Well, what if we just happen to throw a ball and get... Never mind. If that wasn't bad enough, we had to go out of our way just to kill a shiny Pokemon for one of its scales before heading back to Mr. Pokemon's house to trade it for an EXP share, which will be a huge help going forward. Upon returning to Mahogany Town, we witnessed the champion of the region literally hyper beam this poor fellow in the face before proceeding to kick this Armoire back 6 feet to reveal a hidden entrance. Under the house, we commit some electro-genocide before heading back to Olivine City to provide the secret potion to the Ampharos on the top of the light tower. Without even the thanks, Jasmine makes her way out of the lighthouse and back to the gym. I will get my thanks, dang it. But before that, it's time to take on the next gym of the challenge. The odd part about Generation 2 is they can take on the 5th, 6th, and 7th gyms in any order. So I'm completing these gyms according to their level cap, which means that Price and his team of Ice-type Pokemon are up next. He leads off with Seal, who goes down to a single Thunderbolt from Baha. But Piloswine is out next, and this thing can be terrifying with access to Mud Bomb and Blizzard. I switch into Nimmons as Piloswine goes for Hail. Nimmons then outspeeds it to take it out with a single Surf, so Price's final Pokemon, Dugong, is out last. I chip away slowly with Shadow Ball as Dugong deals some minor damage with the Aurora Beam. But as it uses Rest to recover health, I realize I now have a free switch into Baha, so I do just that. Dugong does get Sleep Talk off for some minor damage before Thunder takes it out with a single shot to earn us the Glacier Badge. Wasting no time at all, I head straight to Olivine City to take on Jasmine. She leads off with Magnemite, who is able to paralyze Cinder before going down, so Steelix is out next. I switch into Nimmons here to take it out with the easy one-shot from Surf, so out comes Jasmine's final Pokemon, Magnemite. I switch into Baha, who is paralyzed immediately, but returns the favor as it lands a Thunder on the next turn. Jasmine heals the Magnemite back to full health, but a Thunder Punch and another Thunder from Baha was enough to take it out and earn us the 7th badge of our journey, the Mineral Badge. The next part of this game is the annoyingly long Team Rocket storyline. After heading back to the Goldenrod City radio tower to defeat Executive Proton yet again, I make my way underground to face off with Chat instead. Usually our rival is quite the challenge in these games, but with our diverse team of gift Pokemon, we make quick work of his entire team through the use of Baha and Cinder. We then make quick work of the Rocket Executive Archer as well, and the experience from this battle allows Cinder to evolve into Typhlosion. After making my way through the ice path, I arrive at Blackthorn City to take on the final gym of our Johto journey. Let's take a look at the team at this point. With all our Pokemon being at level 39 or 40, with access to both electric and ice type moves, I think we have a good chance going into this battle against Claire and her dragon type Pokemon. She leads with Gyarados, and I send out Nimmons to absorb the attack rock from Intimidate before switching into Baha instead. A couple Dragon Rushes from Gyarados triggers Baha's held Agave Berry before it gets off a discharge to take it out with a single shot. Dragon Arrow was out next, so I switch into Nimmons, who has the power of Ice on its side. A couple of Aurora Beams takes out the first Dragonair, but then out comes yet another one which is even more of a pain to deal with as Nimmons misses a Blizzard on turn 1 before becoming immobilized by Paralysis on the next turn. With low health, I have no other choice but to switch into Cinder instead. A Fire Blast and Lava Plume nearly take it out before Claire heals it back to full health with the use of a Hyper Potion. One more Fire Blast does just over half its health before Claire switches out for her ace, Kingdra. Fire Blast of course doesn't do much here, so I switch into Furo, who takes some big damage from Dragon Pulse. I needed a clean switch here, so I was going to have to risk it with Kenya. I chose the Fly, which lands to bring Kingdra down to the point where it uses its Citrus Berry before it misses a Hydro Pump. Perhaps Chucky can actually handle a shot or two and allow me to lower its accuracy. Dragon Pulse doesn't do much, but after getting off a single flash, a Hydro Pump lands to hand us the first loss of our journey. Thank you, Chucky, your loss will not be in vain. I send a Ba, and Kingdra misses yet another Hydro Pump. Discharge then paralyzes Kingdra, giving Ba a priority on the next turn, allowing it to take out the Seahorse with just one more discharge. Dragonair comes back out, and if Thunder nearly takes it out, but a full restore brings it back to full health, and now I have a lot more ground to make up. I switch to Togetic, and Ancient Power doesn't really do much, so I decide to get off a Yawn before switching back into Cinder. A Fire Blast from Dragonair then does about as much damage as a Fly hitting a car windshield before one last Fire Blast of our own takes it out. With that, we have defeated Claire, but we haven't earned the badge yet. First we have to head into the Dragon's Den. On the way there, I say goodbye to my fallen soldier before making my way into the den to answer a few questions to finally earn the Rising Badge. The way I answer these questions is actually quite important as it will actually determine which Dratini I get as a gift here. So after speaking to Claire one more time, I head back to the Masters to get myself my new friend Martini. And since I didn't answer the questions like an absolute dick, Martini has the move Extreme Speed, a solid addition to the moveset. Now that we have 8 badges, it's time to take on the Elite 4. But before we leave town, I have to battle the Kimono Girls. These women have extremely powerful teams of evolutions, so I head to Goldenrod City to gamble my way to a better moveset before taking them on. Umbreon, Espeon, and Flareon really don't pose any major threat to the team, but I can't say the same for Jolteon. I immediately switch into Ba in order to tank the electric moves, but Jolteon proceeds to cheat by using the move Last Resort prior to using up all of its PP for its other moves. So after a few turns, I have no other choice but to switch into Cinder to complete the battle. Vaporeon was up last, and I switched to Kirby to get off a Yawn before sending out Martini to finish off the job. I take a couple Dragon Pulses, but eventually goes down. That was a close one, but with that, we are now finally able to take on the Box Legendary. After catching it with a single ball, I proceed to throw it in the Meat Grinder to show everyone just how important this Pokemon really was to this run. So with all that out of the way, it's time to take on the rival one last time in Victory Road. This may have been one of the easiest battles against Chat yet. Sneasel goes down to a Flamethrower from Cinder, and I switch into Ba as Feraligatr comes out. Our yellow friend here then proceeds to wipe the remainder of Chat's team through the use of a Choice Scarf boosted Thunderbolt. Wow, with how this run has been going recently, I'll take the easy win. From there, we had finally made it to the Indigo Plateau. Let's take a look at our team one last time before going in. I forgot to grab Earthquake here, I saw I mention that right away. But Cinder should be able to handle quite a bit with its charcoal boosted fire moves. Martini should be able to deal some solid damage with Ice Beam or Dragon Pulse, and its Shed Skin ability may come in handy as well. Ampharos does not know the move Thunder at this point, because I don't want it to rely on inaccurate moves going into these battles, so it knows Thunderbolt instead. Vaporeon is going to have to survive all the way up to Lance in order to use the Never Melt Ice boosted Ice Beam to take out his team of dragons, and Togetic and Fearow are mostly here as cannon fodder, but may actually come in handy against the fighting type Pokemon of Bruno. Let's see how this goes. Will is up first, and I lead with Cinder, whose rollout deals devastating damage to the members of his team despite the confusion from Xatu that occurred along the way. Xatu goes down to 3 shots, Slowbro to 2, and then Jinx to just 1 before Cinder finally finishes off the remainder of Will's Pokemon easily with Flamethrower. And just like that, the first member of the Elite Four was defeated and we're moving on. This one may have been easy, but I'm not going to hold my breath going forward. I don't think they're going to get any easier. Koga's up next, and I'm not going to lie, this one might have been easier now that I say that. He leads off with Gyarados, who is of course weak to fire, so a single Flamethrower was enough to take it out, along with the Fortress that followed. Then comes Muck, who is able to take a Fire Blast before hitting Cinder with Toxic. A couple more Flamethrowers takes it out, but the poison damage from Toxic was already dealing some major damage, so I switch into Ba instead as Crobat comes out. Luckily, the only 2 Pokemon remaining are both weak to electric moves, so a few discharges takes out the Crobat and the Venomoth to secure us yet another easy victory. Bruno is up next, and honestly this one has me the most worried out of all the members of the Elite Four. He leads off with Hitmontop as I send out Vaporeon. I go with Surf instead of switching to any flying Pokemon, and luckily for me, Hitmontop attempts Counter, which would only deal damage if I attacked with a physical move, so it fails. Seeing an easy knockout here, I hit it once more with Surf to bring out Hitmonchan instead. Expecting a Thunder Punch, I switch into Ampharos to take a hit, and give me a clean switch into Kenya instead. But Bruno reads me like a book, and instead goes for Ice Punch, which deals some huge super effective damage to Kenya, bringing it all the way down to yellow health. A Drill Peck was able to take it out, but as Onix arrives, I figured this was a good time to make the switch back into Nimmons. Rock Slide proceeds to do next to nothing, as the Surf from Nimmons takes out the Rock Gyarados before the real challenge arrives in the form of Machamp. I go for Surf, which brings it down to yellow health, but this also triggers a Citrus Berry, which more than likely takes Machamp out of a 2-shot range. Not wanting to risk it, I switch into Kirby to take a cross shot before sending in Kenya, who stood no chance against the power of Rock Slide. So with that, we had lost the second member of our team for this playthrough. Thanks to Kenya, I get a free switch into Cinder, who is able to take out Machamp with Flamethrower to bring out Bruno's final Pokemon, Hitmonlee, who too goes down to a Flamethrower plus the damage from Burn to hand us yet another victory. This was definitely not an easy one, and we have lost another soldier in battle. We need to limit our losses to have any chance at all against Lance, but before we can get there, we still have to deal with Karen and her team of Dark Pokemon. Umbreon is out first, and this thing always has me worried. I use Kirby to slowly whittle away at its health by putting it to sleep with Yawn while also dealing some damage through the use of Ancient Power and Double Edge. Once I had it below half health and asleep, I make the switch into Cinder to actually take it out. Gengar is out next and deals some huge damage with Focus Blast to bring Cinder down to just 69 HP. Nice. Before going down to a crit hit from Flamethrower. Houndoom is out next, and knowing that it would likely go for a fire move, I chose to smoke screen it for a few turns before it finally lands a Flamethrower to bring Cinder down to just 3 HP. Maybe I should have just switched into Nimmons right away, but better late than never, I guess. As Nimmons comes out, Houndoom misses a crunch before going down to a single Surf, so Vileplume was out next. This has the potential to deal some major damage, but thankfully Ice Beam freezes it on turn 1, so after a full restore and a couple more Ice Beams, it too goes down. All that was left now is Murkrow, who too is weak to Ice, so only one more shot from Ice Beam takes it out. And with that, we have defeated all the members of the Elite Four. But of course, this is not over yet. Lance and his team of Dragon Pokemon are a terrifying combination of speed and power, so this one will be tough. With only Fearow and Shuckle in the graveyard at this point, let's see if we have what it takes to keep them from having too much company there. Lance leads with Gyarados, and I send out Nimmons to take the attack drop from Intimidate before switching into Ba. An Ice Fang from Gyarados does some okay damage, but the Thunderbolt from Ba was enough to take it out with a single shot. Holding nothing back, Lance sends out his ace, an illegal level 50 Dragonite, because of course Dragonair doesn't evolve into Dragonite until level 55, so how do you get this thing? Either way, I switch into Nimmons to hopefully take it out with the Ice Beam. Dragonite hits hard with Outrage though, so now I'm panicked. I switch into Kirby, and then Cinder, who both take major damage from Outrage as well, before Dragonite finally succumbs to Confusion. Not knowing what other choice I had, I choose to go for Fire Blast, hoping the Dragonite would hit itself in Confusion on the next turn. But it doesn't. So one more Outrage takes out Cinder, and this game just got a whole lot harder. Out comes Nimmons, and Dragonite hits itself in Confusion before Nimmons lands a crit hit Ice Beam to take it out. So maybe there's still a chance. Out comes another Dragonite who goes down to a single Ice Beam. But as if that wasn't enough, one more Dragonite comes out, and this one outspeeds us with Dragon Rush to bring Nimmons down to only 1 HP. Wow, that was close. Ice Beam then takes it out, and Aerodactyl and Charizard were now all that stood in my way becoming a champion. Hoping that Martini had what it takes to drop Aerodactyl with a single shot, I switch into it and attempt an Ice Beam, which doesn't even bring the Rock Drake down to less than half health. I had no choice now but to switch into Ba, who tanks an Aerial Ace and a Rock Slide before taking it out with a Thunderbolt. So now all that was left was everyone's favorite Fire Lizard. This thing is fast, so it takes out Ba with the Fire Fang, but also is paralyzed in the process. This could be huge as it now gives my Pokemon priority in battle, so I send out Nimmons. Can I get the one shot with Surf? No, I can't. I bring it down to red health, which means it's now in full restore range after dropping Nimmons with an Air Slash. With Charizard at full health, Martini and Kirby stood no chance. We got all this way just to end it at the champion's final Pokemon. Wow. But we all know that we can't end it here. A few days go by and I'm back at it again, but my strategy will be a little bit different this time around. With my new team, I spent extra time focusing on speed and special attack EVs to hopefully give me that edge in the Elite Four. This time around, I also had to mount Mortar after defeating Claire to add a Tyrogue to the team. After doing some training to get the stats needed to evolve into Hitmonchan, I grind the team up to the highest level possible and give it another shot. Both Will and Koga were just as easy this time as they were the first time around, as I sweep through their entire team without any real issue. Bruno, on the other hand, handed us yet another loss to our team, as our Togetic named Ego goes down to Cross Chop, before Quilla the Typhlosion is able to finish off the job. Karen was no threat either, so with that we're heading back into the Lance battle with 5 Pokemon on the team yet again. I send out F's in chat the Hitmonchan this time around, and it takes a few turns, but Gyarados eventually goes down to a couple Thunder Punches. Charizard is out next, and I send out Martine to deal a little damage with Ice Beam before it goes down to a couple Air Slashes. Fluffy gets a clean swap in, and takes out the Charizard with a Thunderbolt, so out comes Dragonite. Another Thunderbolt brings it down to less than half health, but Outrage does some huge damage in return. Fluffy then pulls off a crit hit to take out the Dragon with one more shot. Another Dragonite comes out next, and it misses the Dragon Rush as Fluffy takes it out with a couple of Thunderbolts. See, this is the type of luck I need going through these types of battles. I then figured I needed a sack of Pokemon, so I switch into F's in chat, to allow for a free switch into Evaporate the Vaporeon, who is immediately paralyzed, but is able to take out the speedy Dragon with a single Ice Beam. All that remains was Aerodactyl at this point, but Evaporate is paralyzed on turn 1 and takes some decent damage from Thunderfang in return. The Rock Drake then outspeeds on the next turn to deal a bunch of damage before a single Ice Beam from Evaporate takes it out to secure us the victory over the champion of the region. And with that, we've claimed our spot in the Hall of Fame. I'm not gonna lie, I think those missed shots from the Dragonites were necessary for beating this one, but we all know that our journey is not over yet. Yep, we still have all of Kanto to do. After releasing all of our fallen soldiers and adding Kenya the Fearow back to the team, who actually didn't die this time around, it was time to take on the first leader of the Kanto region. Janine is up first, and she has taken the place of Koga from the first generation, but this makes no difference as she goes down just as easily as he did, as Quilla is able to sweep her entire team to claim us the 9th badge of the journey. After retrieving the stolen part from the power plant, I head to Pewter City. I know the power plant part wasn't necessary to take on at this point, but I had to complete it regardless, so I figured I would just get it taken care of while I was heading through Cerulean City. Brock's team of rock Pokemon was a little bit more scary than I thought it was going to be, considering he has both Kabutops and Amistar on his team, both of which are rock wire types, so the attacks of Evaporate weren't going to be giving us that super effective damage I was hoping for. Graveler goes down quickly, but Kabutops was a menace to deal with, especially since Brock insisted on using a full restore along the way. He eventually goes down, and the Onix and Rhyhorn that were out next were both easy one-shots. Omastar was out last, and after missing a couple shots against Fluffy, it too goes down to secure us another badge in the journey. The Lieutenant himself was up next, and this one was rather easy as Raichu went down to a Flamethrower plus some burn damage, and the 2 Electrode and Magneton that followed suffered a similar fate. Electabuzz was out last, and since Quilla had very low health, I choose to switch into Fluffy, who was able to finish off the job through the use of a few Signal Beams. So far so good over here on the Kanto side of things, but let's see if we can actually keep that going. Misty has a team full of water Pokemon, and I have an Ampharos on my team, so this should not be that bad after I get through the Quagsire that's out second. Quagsire manages to actually take out Kenya the Fearow along the way through a huge Water Pulse after dealing some damage with Confusion. Evaporate comes out to finish off the job, and Lapras is out next. I send out Fluffy to do what I could to finish off this one through the use of Thunderbolt, so after only another minute, it does just that. As Misty goes down, we earn ourselves the Cascade badge and only have 4 gyms left to go. Sabrina was up next, and despite usually being a difficult gym, this one went rather well. Alakazam was the only real threat here as Quilla made quick work of the remainder of her team. It puts up a Reflect, which will not do much against the power of Flamethrower, which brings it down to low health before triggering its Citrus Berry. A Psychic then brings Quilla down to dangerously low health, but one more Flamethrower takes out the Alakazam, so with that, we're moving on. With a Typhlosion and a Vaporeon still on the team, the next gyms against Erica and Blaine went about as well as one would think. So with very little effort whatsoever, we're down to just one last badge remaining here in the Kanto region. After finding Blue, the final gym leader, on the remains of Cinnabar Island, I make my way back to Viridian City to take him on. He leads with Executor, and I send out Quilla, who takes it out with a single Eruption. Rhydon comes out next, so I switch into Evaporate to take it out with a single shot from Surf. Machamp is out next. I don't really have a great counter here, so I keep Evaporate out to see how much Surf can do. It brings Machamp down to less than half health as Thunder Punch does some solid damage. Another Surf then takes it out along with the Arcanine that was out next. With that, the most difficult competition has been taken care of. So as a Pidgeot comes out, I switch into Fluffy, who takes it out with a single Thunderbolt. Gyarados is out last, and it meets a similar fate as his bird friend, so with that, we've collected all 16 badges. The Kanto region of this game really doesn't pose much of a real problem in most of the Pokemon challenges, which is why I flew through these battles. I also don't want this video to be an hour long, which it easily could have been if I went into any more detail on what happened in this region. All in all, most of what took place in the Kanto region was completed in one stream session, so I really did not take any extra time to complete any extraneous activities. After spending some time on Route 28 grinding up levels, it was time to take on the real challenge. At this point, I chose to make the level cap 84, despite Pikachu being level 87, as it really isn't that much of a challenge. I did have a deal with chat, my Twitch chat, not the rival chat, that I could come back at level 87 instead to take this on one more time if I do lose, instead of restarting all the way back from the beginning. I had already spent many hours grinding up levels, so there was no point making chat suffer through much more of that. Let's take one last look at what remains of the team prior to taking on Red. Quilla the Typhlosion is our starter for this run, and its moveset of Rock Slide, Flamethrower, Eruption, and Earthquake should be a solid lineup considering the boost the Charcoal will give its already stab boosted fire moves. Then there is Fluffy the Ampharos. It's holding a Focus Sash, which may come in handy so long as it avoids any damage from Hail. Actually, you know what? Maybe I can improve this moveset a little bit. Alright, I'm going to switch out the Focus Sash for a Choice Scarf and also teach it Thunder over Power Gem. I choose Thunder because I plan to teach Evaporate Rain Dance, which will greatly improve the accuracy of the often inaccurate Thunder. With that, our movesets were complete, so we head into the battle against Red to finally end this grand adventure. Red leads off with Pikachu, who is the easy one-shot thanks to Earthquake from Quilla. Blastoise is out next, so I switch into Evaporate in order to set up a Rain Dance. It also takes the Focus Blast from Blastoise before I switch into Fluffy to start the Thunderstorm. A single Thunder takes it out, but then Red makes the strange choice to send out Lapras next. I of course was not going to argue this, as I can now continue the onslaught of Thunder, which brings it down to low health before Red restores it back to full health with a full restore. Another Thunder brings it down to only a sliver of health, but as the rain stops, Fluffy lands one last Thunder to take out the Loch Ness Monster. Out next is a gluttonous Snorlax, so I switch into Evaporate to set up yet another Rain Dance before getting off a Hydro Pump for some solid damage. Snorlax is dealing a surprisingly low amount of damage with each crunch, so one more Hydro Pump takes it out. But Venusaur is up next. I switch back into Quilla, who takes a Giga Drain without any issue, but Eruption really doesn't do as much as I had expected. But Flamethrower on the next turn takes it out, so only Charizard was left in my way. Expecting to just sack Quilla for a free switch and Evaporate, I go for Rock Slide, which actually flinches the Fire Lizard. Red decides not to heal it back to full health, so one more Rock Slide was enough to take it out. With that, we have defeated the mysterious trainer Red on top of Mount Silver, and therefore we have finally finished this extremely long adventure. Wow, that was a fun one, but holy cow did it take a long time to get to this point. Losing the first attempt at the Elite Four was not the ideal place to restart a run. After spending numerous hours just getting back to the same point, I had some insane luck against Lance the second time around just to finish off the Johto region. But I will take it, because I really don't know if I could have handled yet another restart from that point. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you like this video, please let me know in the comments below. Also remember to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. If you want to be part of the action live as it happens, come watch me over on Twitch, link in the description below. If you want to watch other Pokemon Challenge videos of mine, check out the playlist on the channel. With all that out of the way, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.